Once we've established a solid foundation of trust, likability, we found some natural affinities, it's time to get down to business. One of the easiest and best ways to make sure you control the meeting and get down to business the right way is through establishing agendas. Now, agendas have been around for as long as mankind has been around, but not a formal agenda. And instead of going into a meeting again, winging it, we really want to focus on some key talking points with the prospect. The language here is very important, so listen to the words as I go through them. What I want to do is I want to talk to them about an agenda, and I want to make sure I ask for permission. So I'm not establishing an agenda where I'm really, hammering them with what we want to do and what's in it for me. I want to say something like, in order to make the best use of our time today, would it be all right just to set a brief agenda for our meeting? Now, of course, the language states that make good use of our time. If they reject that, that's crazy. So, of course, they will go along with it, which allows us to continue with our agenda. We had agreed on an hour of time, 60 minutes. Are we still okay for that amount of time? We move forward to deciding what the purpose is. The purpose of us getting together is really to establish a fit, not just a fit for you, but a fit for both parties. Number 3 is we want to establish what my expectations are. Okay, expectations revolve around questions and questioning. It's not about presenting anymore. Sales is really about questioning and qualifying and understanding needs so we can bring our solutions in on the back end. This allows us permission to ask questions that will get us further along in the meeting. Of course, we want to make sure that this agenda is mutual, so we want to ask what are their expectations. Okay? And they'll usually tell us, well, I want to find out more about your services and the cost and of the investment, that type of thing. My favorite part of the agenda comes in step 5, and that's looking at the specific outcome. Now, most people that I talk to believe that the outcome, and the best outcome, is a yes, and I don't disagree with that. When I ask what's the second best outcome, that's where we get into trouble. Most people are afraid of no, and rejection is a major part of that. What we teach and what we want to try to instill in you is that no is the second best thing you can hear, because it gets to some finality about the meeting. Is it moving forward to a yes? Are we moving no because there isn't a fit? And that's okay, because it allows us to get our time back and move on with someone that has more interest or that we can find problems that we can solve. So we're looking for a yes or no outcome. And what that allows us to do is it allows us to really focus on moving the prospect forward or moving to a no decision. What also happens on a subconscious level is it takes the pressure off of the prospect that they're feeling sold to, and really it allows them to kind of be relieved that they can say no and that that's an acceptable answer. So when you put this all together, what you're doing is you're setting the table very professionally for a meeting that's going to lead to great questions being answered and a yes or no outcome that will allow us to really focus on getting to an end result, whether it's a yes or whether it's a no, and be okay with both. In order to demonstrate how this agenda works in an actual meeting, I just want to run through all the steps in the language all in one piece. Initially, again, we've already been through a relationship step, so we understand that there are synergies and that we have some common ground. It's time to get down to business. So I would say the following. Well, Bob, it sounds like it might make sense for us to get down to why I'm here today. And just to make the best use of your time and mine today as well, I'd like permission just to set a brief agenda. Is that okay? Terrific. So I know we had agreed on 60 minutes. We have about 50 minutes left. I hope that's still okay. I'm just going to shut down my cell phone, make sure we won't be interrupted. Bob, from my standpoint, the reason for me being here is really to understand if there's a fit for us to work together and talk about your business and some possible problems that I could help you solve. In order to find that out, I'd like to ask you some questions and really find out more about what's been going on here. I also tend to ask some more difficult or tough questions. I want to make sure that's okay. Oh, great. I'm curious to know what your expectations might be for our meeting. Again, he might say things like, oh, I just want to find out more about your services, the investment, things like that. In which case I would reply, fantastic, we'll certainly get to that if appropriate, closer to the end of the meeting today. And finally, Bob, if everything makes sense and we're really feeling a great synergy, there's usually 1 or 2 outcomes that happen in a meeting like this. First of all, we may agree that this is a great fit and we want to talk about specific next steps. You can certainly tell me, yes, I'd like to do that, and we'll move forward with some specific next steps. On the other hand, Bob, if you or I don't feel that this is a great fit or that we really it's the right timing to work together, for whatever reason, you can just tell me no, and I just want to make sure you're okay with that. All right, so that's the agenda broken down, and as you can see, it was very professionally done. The language really works well, and what that does is it really professionally sets up the table for a meeting where I'm going to be able to get a fit, I'm going to ask questions, and I'm going to be able to drive that prospect to a yes or no decision without any pressure that I'm there to convince them of something or sell them something, which is not really my purpose of being there. It's really to understand if there's a solution that I could provide. So establishing agenda really helps set the table for a strong meeting. I highly encourage you to incorporate that into your sales process.